All right, welcome to Spoiler Kings. My name is Tim Kramer, and with Brandon the Brand Man and Brian the Grizzly. What is up?
Oh man,
Small, what's going on,
Yeah,
buddy?
dude,
not
I
much.
love She-Hulk. I'm just saying that. This was
Mhm.
great. This episode was finally
This
fun.
was fun. This was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah, it just sucks. It's the second to last episode.
I know it took forever. We have like in a 9 episode season. How is 4 of them filler?
Exactly.
Uh,
Here's a little teaser. At minute 1930, hallway fight MCU equals bigger hallway. It does.
you got to always if it's got Daredevil, you got to have a hallway fight.
that's
Yeah?
just what it is.
Yeah, and he does it so well. He does it really well.
Yep.
So, but so I guess yeah. So we're talking She-Hulk, obviously, and I right off the bat, I think everyone loves it because Daredevil. I think we finally get Daredevil after all the teasing and everything. We get him.
I don't know if you
Everyone
saw
got
me
what they
say.
were waiting for, right?
Did you see me
Yes.
say what I said? I like, thank God, Daredevil.
Yeah, I saw in the
About time.
yeah. So did you guys like? We don't need to get into too many spoilers right off the bat, but did you guys like him being in the episode, or did you not like it, or did it kind of something different? I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
how they incorporated him.
Yeah. Well, you, Brian.
Once I saw it's going to be a lawyer scene, I knew he was going to be the other lawyer. And then we
Yeah.
already saw the cow thing, so we already knew that he was the client. So I knew that was coming. But their interaction was very cool. Like
Sure was.
it seemed very seamless. It felt like they're bouncing off each other, and that was really good. That was really cool. It almost reminded me of, you remember Luke Cage when the first time you really saw Luke Cage with what's her name?
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones. That chemistry. I almost felt that same chemistry with that, and I thought that was really cool.
I didn't even think about that. I can see that
Yeah.
now that you mention it.
Yeah. It played well. It made sense. I liked it. Same thing, but it making sense was the big one, because I was like, how are they gonna bring Daredevil in? They did it, and them interacting together. I was like, of course they would. Like they're basically the same kind of not to say person, but same kind of situation that they're in. They're both lawyers and they're both superheroes. So I thought that was like, I didn't even put that together. So I really enjoyed that part of it. So
Mhm.
All right, so now I'm gonna take over now.
all right, go for it.
What did you guys not like? Because I know Tank has a good answer. I want to hear from him.
Yeah. All right. I'll run off the bat. There's two parts that kind of threw me off a little bit. Right in the beginning, when they're in court, and what was it, Frog Leaper, the Frog Man, whatever the hell stupid name was. He pulls out his suit, and Daredevil smells the fuel, and that's kind of what finishes the case. Was he used the wrong fuel, and I'm like, she's supposed to be a good lawyer. How does a good lawyer just be like, are you sure you used it right? You know what I mean? Because like any good lawyer would be like, okay, I want to make sure you didn't mess it up, because then we're not going to bother taking it to court. Because if you're a dummy, I'm not going to look stupid because you're stupid, and that's what she did. And that's probably the biggest part of the entire show of this episode, that I was like, you're supposed to be a good lawyer, and you're telling me you didn't verify that he knew what he was doing.
But isn't that kind of the problem with the conflict of interest? Like, because she had a conflict of interest, she didn't go through the same questions that she will normally going through a court case. She immediately did not want to take it, so then she didn't even think about what questions I should ask, what things should we go through, the testimony, or any of those things, because she was like, I'm being made to do these things. And I think that's what gives you the excuse, because she immediately said, I don't want to do this. It's conflict of interest.
My only thing was like, this guy is the best of the best. So so now you, as the lawyer, even though you're going against him, you have to find out who's at fault. Is it my person who is at fault, or is it the person I know that never messes up? Like who messed up? And I know it's not her verdict to tell, because that's the whole point of like taking it to court. But at some point, you're like, I can't do this because I know he didn't mess up because he never messes up ever, and you're a dummy, So it's like, maybe she was throwing off her game a little bit, which would be more annoying. So yeah, here you go, Frogman and the Leapfrog.
Leapfrog.
yeah. It's every jumping character in villain in Marvel, because we got who is it? George St. Pierre in Winter Soldier.
That's fun.
Yeah, but yeah, that was one of my other. That was my one thing. The other thing we could talk when we get towards the end of the episode. But that was the one that really kind of like threw me. I'm like, oh, really? Come on, you're supposed to be a good lawyer. Come on.
I agree.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. What about you guys? What didn't you like?
That was something that kind of stood out for me too. It just made Jen seem very, very incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
Really out of the woodwork, or not out of the woodwork, just kind of out of the blue. That's what I meant. In light of the previous episodes where she's shown to be pretty competent, or quite competent. So that was really out of nowhere, and I think some of the kind of it was several different tones in the episode all in one. We had the usual legal comedy, it dips into straight action, romantic comedy, and then gets straight up dramatic. So it seemed like it did a lot at once, which is kind of, there's a lot of consistency in tone in the previous episodes, but since we're nearing the finish line, it kind of seemed to throw a bunch of things in the mixing bowl to me.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of tone.
I didn't like. See, I didn't have no problem with her, messing up and not asking the right questions. I have a problem with that. She spent all this time with Amelia and didn't learn anything from her. Because Amelia is not going to take a case that she thinks is stupid or is a conflict of interest. She has no confidence behind her. She still, after all that journey, after all this filler, she still has no confidence. And enough to at least tell your boss, like, look, this is a stupid thing. I can't represent him because I'm going to make a mistake, or say something like that. She should be smart enough to be able to have a backbone. She just doesn't. Amelia has been showing her episode after episode how to have a backbone, and she just doesn't.
Yeah,
and it bothered me. Everything else I thought was fine, except why does Daredevil get his butt kicked so fast? I was like, how? Come on, Daredevil, you're better than this.
See, I didn't mind that because I feel like he knew who she was, so he wasn't fighting. He was more like trying to get away.
He was trying to get away, and he was trying to catch.
Yeah, because he didn't want to fight her because he knew she wasn't a bad guy. That's what I took it as, And then she just kind of. And then another thing, a few other things that they snuck in there was she did the whole clap thing.
Yep.
And she grabbed him, and I'm like, really? Like he's gonna let her grab? And then he threw it in there. He like, when they were talking about his powers, he goes, oh, it's from hearing. Well, at least when I can hear. So it was like, oh, the clap kind of deafened him for a second, just enough for her to grab him.
Also, where would the sound waves come? Because the speed of her clap power also messed up the sound waves. So he wouldn't have sound waves. Yeah, there'll be no waves to get through.
I thought that was really interesting. I'm like, oh, is that how you beat the Daredevil? It's like he can't see, so he hears. So if you make it so he can't hear, now he's screwed.
Yeah,
that was
like
kind of a little
overload.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. And then also the Sokovia Accords are repealed.
Yeah,
that was huge.
That was great. It was nice to see that touched on.
Slide it in there
because Endgame didn't touch on it. We haven't really touched on the Accords since probably the last time we really heard about them was what, Ant-Man and the Wasp was the last time we really heard about them. Or was it later than that? I might have.
I think it was after. I think it was that. Because what's his name? Lang was.
We didn't hear about it.
Arrest.
We didn't hear about it in.
Did they mention it in Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Falcon and Winter Soldier. I want to say that's what it was. I think that
maybe. Yeah, I think you're right. So I may have had it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah,
also,
that was
something I did like. She should not be damaging Corvettes. That's just wrong. Anyway.
No, yeah, that's all kinds of bad.
Like, you didn't see the beat. It was like a beater that she could have grabbed, and she was like, "No, I'm gonna get this Corvette." Why?
Why? Yeah.
Oh, it hurt me a little bit. Just in my heart.
It was also nice to see more kind of comic book style Daredevil in terms of the agility and the acrobatics and stuff like that. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys mind Jen talking to the camera so much at the towards the end, right before the gala? She's like, "This should be over. This is it. Why are we still going?"
I like that. I was like, they needed more of that throughout the whole season, the whole thing.
I love the fourth wall breaks.
Yeah, and I thought that was like the perfect.
What you guys still be doing here? Where are we going to go? Oh, what about the walk of shame? I love that Daredevil has the walk of shame in his uniform. In his
I mean, he didn't seem very shameful though, because he's walking whistling. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" It's like, so is it really the walk of shame if you're not, shamed? So,
there's no shame in that. If I got down with She-Hulk, I'd be doing the same exact thing.
I'll have a sign like, "I'm coming from She-Hulk's house."
Let me ask you guys something, because we've kind of heard kind of conflicting things about this. Is this still Netflix Daredevil, or is this a whole kind of complete like soft reboot of the character to you guys, or even a whole reboot?
His story about saying that his office is still in Hell's Kitchen and explaining that he has bills piling up and how he does mostly pro bono, but he still takes those high profile ones to pay the bills. Kind of seems like it's adding on to the Netflix story a little bit. So it gave us enough of the backstory that you could envision what was going on already.
Yeah.
So I feel like it is a little bit of it's a continuation.
It is a continuation. I kind of feel like it's a Daredevil who, at this point, has kind of been around the block more.
Mm-hmm.
Even his answers to her were very, very like wise. Like, I've been doing this for years.
Yeah,
or at least 3 seasons. So I know the answer.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see him have the Billy Club with that shoots out with the cable.
Yeah,
that was really cool to see.
Yeah. He was doing more crazy, like when he went from the top floor of the garage down. I was like, "Oh, we haven't seen that yet from him." So, like you said, I think he's more seasoned, So I think it is a continuation of the Netflix one, but years later. So it's not going to continue the story of that story, but it's going to be the same person. So that's why. So it's a little bit of both.
Stuff that you saw still existed, just we're not talking about that stuff anymore.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. Also, if you think about it, that was before the snap. That was like Avengers 1 kind of stuff. How long ago was that? Especially in the MCU, because remember the MCU is about 5 years ahead of now. So if so, that's got to be going on 2027. Which is another 15 years at that point from when Avengers 1 came out or something. I don't know. So I'm like time with the whole thing with time with MCU right now. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little bit of both. It's going to be a reboot, but it's like, oh, that happened, but now we're on to a different story of the same character.
I am sorry to even ask this question because it's totally off topic. But I have to ask. Do you think this is what's going to happen on Fantastic Four? Because we know they're not just starting the story over, and they're kind of starting in the middle of wherever they are already at. Are we going to have to assume that all these characters have already been together, and
I feel like
similar stories that already happened? The movies that we saw, the first 2 Fantastic Fours, not the little kid one, that was stupid, but the first 2 that we assume that these things already happened. So maybe Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman is already married, and they've already been out of space for a while. Like, are those the things that we're going to get?
I think it will. I think it will. I think that Reed Richards already exists in this universe. He's probably already Mr. Fantastic. I'd love for them to say, they've been exploring the negative zone, or maybe even somewhere in the quantum realm. Maybe we'll get a hint of that in Quantumania.
Yeah. But the multiverse.
But I sincerely think they're just going to bypass the origin
Yeah.
They've been at this for a while. They've maybe just been in a different universe.
I don't think they're in a different universe. I think they're out in space.
They're out, yeah, because remember, they're space adventurers. They're adventurers first and foremost. So they could be in space. They could be in another universe. They're out there somewhere.
They could be out there with the Kree. We could be talking about all this when it's Fantastic Four going to be we're gonna see them. What if they're in like Guardians of the Galaxy? You see something, you hear something from Reed Richards, like just totally blow your mind. Like, I mean, these things could happen. So
I'd be totally fine with it.
yeah, I mean, they are everywhere.
I see Captain Marvel. I think, or
Either
the
way it
Marvels.
goes, I think they're out there somewhere. The movie's probably gonna focus on them returning to Earth. They're probably gonna buy the Stark Tower in New York and set that up as the Baxter Building.
Yeah,
They have to do that.
Yeah.
Or what if they're the ones who brought back Nick Fury? He hitched the ride back with them.
Yeah. Like a hitchhiker, like, hey, you going to Earth? We're going to Earth.
Yeah, we'll go back to Earth. Like they were hanging out with the Kree, like doing that whole thing that Nick Fury was dealing with. What if they were already there with him? We haven't heard anything about that story, so they could have been there the entire time, and that means they've already been in the MCU for all this time. So now we're not actually losing. It's not just it just happened. They were already out there fighting. That we're going to see what happened later. Like we'll hear about it because they were out there with them the entire time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry to ask that question, but
No. I think that's a great question. I think that's a really good question.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna jump right into it. I feel like they're gonna pull a Spider-Man Homecoming and say, "Oh, they've had their powers for a while."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you throw little flashbacks.
What's that?
I was say then you throw little flashbacks on how they got their powers. Yeah. Because I mean that's all that takes is like 10 minutes, like a 10-minute flashback split between 2 5-minute, scenes. Boom,
I'd be fine with a flashback just because I'd like to see the origin done correctly.
Yeah.
The Tim Story Fantastic Four movie from 2005 did okay with the origin, emphasis on just okay.
It was fine. It's just the bad part was the casting. But yeah, that movie was not terrible. It was just poorly written and bad casting.
Yeah, it was kind of rushed out. Spider-Man and the X-Men movies were very, very popular at the time. It was just jumping on the comic film craze.
Yeah.
Right. I guess back on track, I'm going to ask this question real quick. Oh, me too.
Go ahead.
People have been saying that She-Hulk is the most powerful character in the MCU because of the fourth wall breaks. What do you think about that?
Nah, I buy it. Not because of the fourth wall break. I'm not buying that.
It seems like she knows people are watching and knows the overall structure of the show, but has no clue what's going on in the scene that she's in. She is in it.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
That's a good way of looking at it. I think that's probably the most apt way of looking at it, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to read this next one. So Deadpool is more powerful because he knows what's going on in these different universes. He just has trouble following along. These timelines are.
Yeah. Well, and also he's crazy. He has multiple voices
he's aware that he's a fictional character.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's different timelines. There's different actors who played Professor X. So Deadpool is on a whole nother level of like fourth wall breaking. Like he's yeah. I think that's the difference. Because in She-Hulk, she's just talking to the audience. In Deadpool's like talking to the audience, but like as a fan. It's like, you're a fan, I'm a fan. We both love, Professor X, and
like he's totally aware of everything that's going on in the outside world. She's not totally aware of what's going on in her own life.
Yeah.
So we got here. Let's talk about the ending, about the gala. What did you guys think about that?
When shit got real.
Yeah. That was the big part. One is kind of a shit award where everyone nominated kind of got it, and you're like, oh, okay,
like Oprah.
Yeah.
You get a car. It's like, really?
So that was a little off-putting, but that ending, was very interesting. That was the other part that kind of upset me. It was like not because she got mad, because that's, I think, understandable, but it's because everyone had their finger on the trigger ready to go. It's like, nah, she's a Hulk, so go ahead, have your fun, but as soon as you do anything, like, you flick a pen too hard, like, we're coming after you, know, and I feel like that was it. And
that's why she's not aware of her own life, not aware that her being a Hulk means everyone is sitting there waiting for you to explode,
to trip up. Yeah.
And the fact that she doesn't understand that is just, and everyone else understands it, because you see all the other females there, or, as I said, Amelia, all of them are saying, Jen, don't do it. Jen, don't react this way. Please don't. They all know what's happening out there. You know how they really see her, but not her. She's totally oblivious. How is she so oblivious to stuff?
I wouldn't say it's oblivious. It's like, I mean, I think she was rightfully to be angry. It's easy for somebody else to say, "Hey, don't be mad at that. Fuck you. That's not your ass on the wall that your dad is watching." It's like it's very, very different. So that's what my thing is. Like, it's very understanding why she did what she did.
She has to know who she is. Trust me, as a big black guy, I know that they're totally understandable. But you gotta know where you are and who you are and what's going on, and you have to be aware of that. And she could have made different decisions. Like, why didn't she could use the clap against Daredevil, but she can't use it to break the camera?
Yeah.
There's other things that you can do, and you have to realize that. But she's so not aware. She's almost like a ditz. I don't understand it. First off, I wouldn't have walked up for that award because I felt that was very disrespectful what they said, even announcing the female lawyers. They're like, they're just like us, except they do it backwards.
Yeah.
What? I ain't going up for this award. Are you crazy?
Right.
That was the first thing. And then the second thing was, just having all of them up, having those awards, I would have been like, no. And then the fact that the mic went off, it feels like it was a setup. This whole thing was 100% a setup. So I wouldn't have trusted any of those people.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing was after thinking about it, I was like, oh, this is a callback to the very first episode that got so many people angry. Like, oh, you know how to handle your anger better than the Hulk? Obviously not. You know what I mean? It's like she made up good points on why I think a normal woman would be able to control her anger a little bit. But now add Green Hulk rage in it. It's like it's
women just are really good at arguing and thinking they're always right.
Yeah,
I say that my wife is always right. She's really good at it. I'm just not good. She wins, and I think she just was able to control it because she's always scared and frightened and all those things because of the world the male world that she's living in. But as far as being angry, you get angry. Everyone gets angry. You've seen women get angry, and you just gotta know that's part of it. And it's great that Bruce said that in the first couple of episodes that she just never got it. Yeah. She never understood it because she always thinks she knows everything, yet she knows nothing. And that's what kind of frustrates me. Like, you think you know everything, yet you're not getting it.
Yeah. I don't know. It kind of made everyone who bitched and moaned that first episode like you didn't wait long enough to see what happened. You know what I mean?
Because and they typically don't. It's so easy to jump right to conclusion when it comes to a lot of things. And
they've done it in every single series.
Yeah, exactly. The first episode they said this, that's so stupid. But by the end, it's like, oh, she thought she knew what anger was, but you can be mad, but then you can be Hulk mad. You know what I mean? It's like, obviously it's a fake character, so no one knows what Hulk mad is. But in the context of the character, and then she was breathing heavy. Her whole face changed. She was grunting like a Hulk. Yep, so it was like, oh, she legit hulked out, like angry.
She legit, like almost went Savage Hulk.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, she wasn't wrong in the first episode, but also she wasn't fully right. It was like, you know how to control your anger, but now this is a whole nother level.
Every argument with my wife, she's not wrong, she's not fully right. But that means I'm fully wrong.
Yeah. Either way, you lose.
Either way, I lose.
So, but yeah, I liked it. But it was just more. I was more annoyed. I was like, oh, so they're mad at her for punching a camera and grabbing the guy who is responsible for doing this.
The
But they're mad at
the
her.
masked guy too.
Yeah, they're mad at her, but
And
they're
let,
not
and they
mad
let
at the
the masked
person.
guy get out.
Exactly. That's the part that pissed me off. I'm like, I mean, I guess I don't want to say it makes sense, but that's what they would do. You know,
But
it's
no-
like, oh no, they're not a threat. You're a threat. I was like, really? Because they just exposed me. You know, I was like, how they're not a threat? I don't know.
But I don't know. Part of that is also I felt like her being a woman and how how people react to her. Oh, we're not going to think about because if Tony Stark did that, no one would have batted an eye. They would have been like, let's go after these guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But because who she is, they're like, oh, we knew it. We knew it was going to happen. Grab your pitchforks and ogre. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even with calling her like a slut, like they legit called her a slut in the
A
show.
slut, yeah.
But I was like, she had sex with one guy that you know of, and he got recorded. Meanwhile, Tony Stark, I mean, in the first 2 Iron Mans, like
What's his name? Billionaire, playboy, and philanthropist.
Yeah. You know,
The first 10 minutes of Iron Man 1 had him like flippantly sleeping with a journalist.
Yeah. I think even Iron Man 3, Iron Man 3, they were bringing up like his ex-girlfriends, and there's a part where him and Peppers are talking about. He goes, "Oh no, that was a different girl." It was like, I'm like, yeah, he had this many women in his life where like
Iron Man 1, she was like, oh, I know that Pepper came in, so I know what to do with this one. Here's stuff.
Yeah.
Uber.
They
Get out.
They mentioned the Maxim models. One of the first lines of Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2, he went and got his yacht and got all the models on there, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna pretend to be there. They won't even notice I'm there. But it's okay for the double standard is crazy, and I think we see that throughout this entire show.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and in the comic, I haven't read a lot of She-Hulk comics, but the ones I read is like, she likes to have sex, which I'm like, all right, whatever, it's like, and I think.
Oh yeah, in the comics, she lets her freak flag fly.
Yeah, she's with Luke Cage. She's with everybody.
Yeah. Well, here he goes. Start to close it up. But Andy said she's reckless. She destroyed a parking garage and she took out a wall that could have been load bearing.
The Corvette is what I don't accept.
The Corvette. Yeah, and I think even Daredevil made fun of that. He goes, "Oh, you don't understand about a collateral damage. Like you broke a car, you broke a garage, and." Yeah,
she said, "I'll leave a note."
Yeah,
that was so funny because that's what my wife does. She's gonna kick my butt.
Yeah, right. You worried about Kevin Feige turning off the lights and getting you?
You will see a black mask and a black bag over my head. It's not Kevin Feige. It's my wife, and I deserve it.
But. I don't know. We'll finish it out because we gotta get going on other stuff.
Yeah.
But where would you rank this one with all eight episodes? How's this one in all 8?
This was almost my number 1 favorite. This was very close to my number 1. I really liked the first episode.
Yep.
I ranked
1B for me. First one's 1A. This is 1B. Like it's right there.
Yeah, it's. I really, really like this episode. Like I said, I'm almost inclined to say it's my favorite yet, but I liked it. It's neck and neck with the first episode for me, for sure.
Yeah,
it solidified with me that they could have deleted those four episodes and nothing different would have been happening in this stuff. Like nothing different.
Yeah. So, I mean, those 4.
They could have one. They could just one of those episodes, and everything would have been perfect.
Yeah, the whole wedding thing, the whole him and her and Josh.
Yep.
Some and all that. That's probably one episode, 1 45-minute episode. You could have crammed 4 episodes into one, and then gave us actual more content like this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm there with Brandon. I'm like probably tied for my number 1. Because the first one was still my favorite, and then this one. So,
but we knew that was going to happen. We were waiting for Daredevil, and he delivered.
Yes.
Every part of it was so good.
Yeah, a lot of people are upset. You know, they're like, "Oh, they ruined the character." Like, "Oh,
They
he would not."
ruined the character.
Yeah.
Why
Oh,
did they-
yeah, dude. Yeah, there's people that are upset. They're like, "Oh, he would not have had sex with her." I was like,
Why not?
Read
Why
a
not?
comic book.
"Why not?" It was like,
Read
Why
one.
not? You know,
The
if I,
She-Hulk comics are very, very like it's very true to just the cheesy kind of lighter nature of the comics. Not all of these comics are Daredevil Born Again or Daredevil Guardian Devil or Batman Dark Knight Returns. Why do you got to be an edgelord about everything?
yeah. Here, so this is one person said hashtag not my Daredevil is going around, and somebody said Daredevil has sex and MFers say not my Daredevil. I wonder why.
ah,
So that's kind of funny. But I did love the chemistry between him and Tatiana Maslany. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you put two good actors together.
Yep.
You know, they do good stuff, they act. But you know, people are calling Daredevil a whore. You know, I don't know if that's a joke or a joke at the whole thing of Jen being called a whore or something else. But
I can tell you what it is. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's idiotic. That's why I'm shaking my head.
yeah.
Sometimes this crap just makes me want to turn
People
my
are
back on the internet completely.
people
I
are
can't stand some of these fools.
and it's okay, you know, and people are going to have their own opinions, but it's just important that we understand that some opinions are not all opinions are not created equal. Some opinions are stupid.
Yeah. So this is the I was looking for. I finally found it. So it said Marvel fans are furious over the depiction of Charlie Cox's Daredevil in the latest episode of She-Hulk. And then in quotes, it's a betrayal to us, the fans, to see our favorite character, someone we can all relate to, have sex. It's unrealistic.
And they're probably the ones who haven't had it.
No, it's funny
Well,
because think about Captain America. They're uproar. He's Captain America. You know, like
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
But like this is the whole show's about, man. Everyone does. Yes,
Yeah, they're people.
that's
They're
how we
humans.
have kids. That's
Yeah,
how
I
we
know.
procreate. Like, yeah, that's what happens, guys.
It's something very natural. Look into it.
Yeah.
Maybe if you go out and socialize and not be a dickhead, maybe one day you'll be lucky enough to have it. You freaking incel losers.
I don't doubt they have it. I think it's just always a double standard. It's okay for me to have it, but not you, not my superhero.
But yeah, I loved it. I liked it. One more episode. We'll see what happens next week.
She's like, it's over already? Yeah,
It's over. Yeah, that's it, man. Even in the show, they're like, oh wow, yeah, it's over already. Like, yeah. There he goes. She-Hulk fucks. There you go.
Exactly.
I support sex positivity in a Disney show. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah.
And that's why Marvel's not going to be on Disney much longer.
But cool. Anything else before we move on?
No, fun.
I said that's about it.
Yeah,
Had a lot of
fun
fun
episode.
with this.
Big time. But cool. If you're watching our replay, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about episode 8 of She-Hulk, where we finally get to see Daredevil. What you thought about him? Was it good? Was it funny? Was it goofy? Did you hate it? Did you love it? I don't know. Let us know, and we'll chit chat with you in the comment section.